Joining us on the show right now, Mr. Dave Kopel, the research director at the Independence Institute. Dave, good evening, sir.
Good evening. How are you doing?
I'm good. Thanks for coming on the program tonight.
Oh, I'm always delighted to.
Well, getting closer to the NRA annual meetings in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. You going to be up there for the annual meetings this year?
Oh, you bet. And I'm teaching one of the teachers at the annual Firearms Law Seminar on Friday.
Oh, fantastic. You know, one of these years, we're going to have to arrange the schedule so I can actually go sit in on that, because I'm always broadcasting on Friday during the day, and I'm always so jealous of the people that get to attend, because it's an awesome one-day experience. If you're a lawyer, you get continuing legal education credit. It's really, really cool.
And it's quite a deal for how much continuing legal education you get, and a real good way if you're a pro Second Amendment attorney to learn lots of things. And they have a good balance of advanced gun rights stuff, like I'll be presenting on international law, but also lots of real practical things just for your general practice type lawyer, like firearms and wills and things like that.
Fantastic. All right. Now, speaking of international law, down in Brazil a few days ago, Dave, they had a mass killing. A guy came into a school, killed, as I believe, 12 children, wounded several others. From what I understand, 2 revolvers the killer used. And now there are, leaders in the Brazilian government. Senate Leader Jose Sarney says that they want to have another referendum, that would ban the sale of firearms across Brazil.
Of course, that's not going to dry up the supply of the guns that this guy used, which came from the black market. There's by lots of estimates, about 16 million guns in Brazil, half of them on the black market, and that's where these guns came from. One they've identified as being stolen, and the other has no serial number on it, so they don't know its full history, but it's a pretty good sign when the serial number has been removed that it's a stolen gun.
Yeah. And, as I mentioned, a couple of years ago, Brazil had a referendum, and the United Nations was really pushing for this. IANSA was heavily involved. And this would have banned the sale of guns, but despite the fact that polls before the election showed the referendum was going to succeed, when voters actually went to the polls, they rejected this referendum, and they voted to hang on to their legal right to own a firearm.
That's right. It was overwhelming. It was defeated in a overwhelming landslide.
But the laws
in nearly 70% of the vote.
Despite the fact that the laws in Brazil right now are really restrictive in terms of who can legally own a firearm and what you have to do to become a legal gun owner.
Oh, that's right. They are everything the Brady campaign and similar folks have been talking about in terms of very restrictive licensing, and extremely long-lasting, difficult process, and really something that at least intends to keep guns away from anybody who would own them for protection. It's the intent is to allow them only for sporting purposes.
So, Dave, I realize you're not on the ground to kind of assess what people are thinking in Brazil, but would you be surprised to see a different result for this second referendum?
No, I think there might be. Because, well, first of all, it's not at all certain there will be. This is the president of the Senate, but there is Brazil, like a lot of legislatures, is hit bicameralism. So there's a 513-member Chamber of Deputies, I believe, would have to go to as well for there to be a referendum. One of the things that did help our side on the referendum was it was being pushed by President Lula, who at the time was quite unpopular because of corruption issues and things like that. So it's conceivable that without Lula as a deadweight on the measure, it might do better. And obviously the prohibitionists have learned from their first time around and could well have better tactics. And with George Soros behind them, could have unlimited funds at their disposal and run a more effective campaign than they did before.
All right. Well, Dave, I'm glad you could join us tonight to talk about this, and look forward to talking again very soon. If not before the annual meetings, I'm sure we're going to be having you on the show at some point while we're on the air there.
I'd love to drop by sometime, maybe on the convention floor on Saturday.
That would be fantastic. Dave, thanks again. Have a good night, sir.
Okay, thanks.
Dave Kopel with the Independence Institute.